Hey guys, welcome back to the Feroz Moto channel. Here we have the opportunity to drive an E46. As you guys know, the E46 M3 is one of my favorite dream cars, but here we're gonna dial it back and drive one of the more normal renditions. And we're here with the owner, Sully, who's gonna talk to us about what's going on with this guy. So a lot of history with this vehicle. It's been totaled, it's been fixed, it's been rebroken, reopened, and put back together. And I think it's gonna be a good example of, humbling my expectations, what we have with certain vehicles. So we are in the car now, has around 102,000 miles. And we are here with the owner, Sully. I'm gonna get my seat a little comfortable and...
Feel free to adjust as needed. One of the cool things about this car is, despite being old, it's got seat memory. It's got 3 positions, 3 little buttons on. You put it in sport mode by,
Cool. So I could shift it up and down by doing that?
You can.
Just recommend not to.
Well, actually it works fine. I recommend getting a feel for it first. She's an old girl. I just rebuilt the engine. I just replaced the cylinder head on this, did a lot of work, so she's pretty fresh from a huge major servicing. So I'm a little iffy on some reliability stuff, and the brakes are also still a little weak. We need to bleed them and possibly replace the rear rotors. So just be gentle. She's an old girl. Yep,
we're going to drive this respectfully and just get a sense and feel for what this generation of BMW had to offer. So,
and understand this is a lower trim. This is a 325, so it's the smaller 2.5 liter M54. Oh. It's also the XI, so it's all-wheel drive and it's an automatic. So not exactly the most exciting, but the thing I like to call this car is it's a very good car to daily drive. It's very, very practical, and it'll tackle any weather conditions with no trouble at all. And it's still powerful enough to have fun with.
I agree. Definitely has enough torque to really push you out and go in this car. I mean, I want to say it's super comfortable. What tires is this guy running?
I believe it's just running Generals. I forget the specific types. You can check them when we go outside. The brand it's running is Generals. They're kind of cheap. Once again, this car really has never been used as like
performance or anything in that aspect.
This has been my family hauler since 2003.
Wow.
My dad bought this new before my brother was even born. It's been in the family for almost 22 years.
Wow. So you definitely have some history with this car. I do remember you telling me that it was actually totaled and then you fixed it?
Yeah, and this car got rear-ended, and once again, be careful with the brakes, and the tires aren't like super like high-end tires, so you got to be careful with the grip.
Oh, I agree, yeah.
That said, the hydraulic steering on this is my the brakes. The hydraulic steering on this, though, is my favorite thing about this car.
Yeah.
No full electric power steering. It is old school, old-fashioned hydraulic steering.
Wow.
So you're really feeling the feedback from the wheels in the steering wheel. There's no electronic trickery going on.
I will say that it definitely, I always like to preference steering is so dependent on a tire. So like if you don't have a super direct and stiff sidewall, it's not going to give you too much information into it. So I will say, although the hydraulic steering is very direct, I don't actually get too much feedback.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've driven other cars, but what I've been going with these Japanese different cars, they actually do a pretty good job in giving you some undulations, and especially now with the E-Series that I've driven, that hydraulic steering felt pretty buttoned down with all that feedback in the hand and feet.
I think like these are all-weather tires. I think if I got like nice like summer sport tires,
100%, you'd feel a lot more.
It would make night and day difference in the handling of this car. But even like this, it's not bad.
Yeah, I really do like the motor. I think I have driven an M54 Z4 before. Zach actually owned it. I don't know if he told you, or co-owned it. But I drove that here in the same road, and I just love that like kind of muscle car, straight 6 kind of torque as it's pushing you to redline, which is around, what is it, 6,500?
Yeah, it's got a flat power band, plenty of torque, 184 horsepower. The European version makes 189, and that's allegedly because this is an old engine.
Yeah, she's a bit tired too, so.
Yeah, I did rebuild it. So
awesome.
I rebuilt with a rebuilt head. It's got a new diesel valve in it. It's got a new PCV, so this should be the best the engine's run in quite a while.
Yeah, I mean, it feels very smooth and healthy. Doesn't feel like it's really hurting or anything. Definitely want to get the brake situation a little sorted.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
No, it's okay.
This car hasn't been driven a ton lately. It's kind of been, since my brother left for college, my parents have 2 newer cars, so they really kind of just use this to go around the block. So it's really, be careful with traction. Yeah. I did slip a little bit on the way here. Granted, the road's a little drier now.
Yeah.
But you still got to be careful. I really do think it's a matter of the tires are not as grippy as, say, your M3.
Oh, 100%. I'm running a lot of grip for that car. I mean, to find the limit, it's, you got to be doing some really stupid stuff. But overall, I want to say, like, super comfy in here. I do love this generation of interior for BMW. Straight, bare bones, down to the ground. Get your gauges, get that nostalgic orange lighting in the car. Everything has great feeling and buttons of tactility and quality. So I'm a huge fan. And as I said before, with this being the 325 with the motor, and then at this car's age, I mean, you're still getting a lot of performance out of this thing. I mean, this is back when, yeah, they called it the ultimate driving machine and everything. Like, I still get the feeling of this chassis being very tight, very solid. And I'm sure if you're going to keep this car for a while, I know you're going to do it right, and maybe down the line, you know, add a bit more performance-oriented parts. But such a good platform. Maybe
tires, maybe suspension, but I don't really plan on doing power modifications.
Oh, I agree.
My goal with this is longevity, since this is a sentimental car. Yep. My goal would be one day to maybe teach my kid, if I have a kid, teach them to drive on this machine.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
It's a great car to learn to drive on. That very direct hydraulic steering, responsive engine, but it's not too much power, so you're going to get into trouble. I learned to drive on this thing. My brother learned to drive on this thing, and honestly, it's about as good as you can get for a first car. It's low to the ground. It's got great visibility. It's got great handling, road feel. It's extremely safe. 5 airbags.
Yeah.
ABS, traction control. You're not missing anything.
I mean, BMWs are just great overall packages. I mean, obviously I'm a little biased here, but,
Me too.
But they are just fantastic. I love their space in the realm of just enthusiast products and safety products and just driving dynamics. I am just so blown away with what they give really at their price compared to other brands. Like, I always say it in the way of, you know, performance going. I always have Porsche at the top, BMW, honestly, Audi, Mercedes, but I know most of their products, like, I've not driven an AMG car, but what I keep hearing is that they are kind of like a luxury Mopar in some aspects. And then I know people in the comments are gonna say, you know, like, try one of the AMG GTs or other cars, but they're just so at like unobtainium prices. I know some have depreciated around to like the 100,000 mark, but I just do not see any of those at the tracks. It's always BMWs, always Hondas, and I think that just speaks in droves, because in a vacuum, you know, like, these cars are great, but at the end of the day, like, if I'm not seeing people drive these cars in the right atmosphere.
I'm sorry, I'm very protective of this car.
Yeah, I know. But there's just like, BMWs are just the heart and soul, I think, for the enthusiast space for driving, and I just love their products, love their cars, and I would just always love to appreciate and drive everyone I can, because they're all so special in my heart.
Now, the best thing about these, you can get an E46 pretty cheap.
Yeah.
You can get these for like $2,000 and under, but the one thing I'll warn you is if you do,
the rust.
But it's also not going to be in great mechanical shape. You're going to buy, most of them at this age have problems. They're 100%. Old cars, they're at the end of their lives, and you can extend their lives with servicing, but the thing is, if you take this to a professional mechanic, it's going to be extremely expensive to repair.
Yeah, now, I can't blame them. Like, I don't know many people want to really work on these diligently, because they are, I mean, BMW figured a lot of things out. I mean, you could argue that they've gone, you know, the other way in a lot of things with serviceability. I know these are still quite typical compared to what we have nowadays with their relative machines, but they still had their problems, their quirks, and are expensive to fix, because if it's one thing, it kind of leads to another, and then once you're there, it's just like the money in the bill just astronomically explodes. But they all have their space, and if it's worth it to you and you think it's worth it, I think you're in for a really, really fun and awesome package.
Well, the thing for me is I taught myself to fix this car. I did the whole head replacement myself. I also recently replaced the expansion tank when it exploded. Common problem on these.
Yep, I've heard of those.
But you can feel the brakes.
Yeah, is that ABS kicking in?
It is, I believe. The thing to be mindful of with these cars, actually one of the benefits of them, is there's so much documentation, like E46 fanatics, 50s kit on YouTube.
Yep.
Anyone can teach themselves to fix one of these, and they look scary. They look like, you open the engine bay and it's so tightly packed. It really isn't as bad as you first expect. You open the engine bay, it's so
you still have parts
in there.
Yeah.
But once you start removing the airbox, the intake manifold, it opens up, and everything's actually really nicely thought out on BMW's part.
Yeah, I mean, people always say, you know, German engineering, they like to overthink and, you know, overcomplicate things. But when it comes to it, like when you figure it out and do it the right way, like how they intended for certain things, you're just like, I get it.
Well, you just put it in drive.
Yeah, I was gonna, I'm so used to having a manual. My muscle memory goes to putting it into a reverse gear. Oh, reverse, yeah, thank you.
Reverse. You can see what gear it's on under the tachometer.
Yep. It's kind of crazy. I rarely
put it in sport.
I rarely ever like drive automatics anymore. I don't know if that's a flex or anything. I don't think it is. It's probably like more cringe than anything. But just automatics are they have their place. But I don't know. I just love driving stick, doing my own gears. Is it possible to do a manual swap on these cars?
Oh, absolutely. Plenty of. It's actually one of the most common mods on automatic E46s. Yeah, you can. Actually pulling it back up shifts.
Yeah.
Pushing it forward down shifts if you want to play around with the Steptronic.
Sure.
It's a 5-speed automatic with Steptronic, so you can switch which gear you're in. And that's so yeah, you just now you're in third. Yep, and you can see what gear is on there.
That's kind of cool. Nice.
I also wanted to touch on the accident because I kind of got sidetracked.
Sure.
So this car got rear-ended in 2004. It was brand new. My dad got this car special ordered, delivered from BMW November of 2003. I had just turned 3 years old when that happened. So when it got rear-ended in September of 2004 at the train station Ridgewood, New Jersey, you know where that is?
Yep,
right outside there. And some woman in a Mercedes S-Class wasn't paying attention, brand new S-Class at the time.
Unacceptable.
Rear-ended this while it was parallel parked and destroyed the rear side quarter panel, destroyed the trunk.
Wow.
The wheels were bent in because it was pushed into the curb.
Holy smokes.
And the exhaust was destroyed. And one of the actual interesting things that you can still see on this car is the XIs have chrome tipped exhaust, and the shop, when they replaced the exhaust on this, didn't put chrome tips on the new muffler.
They put black ones?
No, they didn't put any tips.
Oh wow.
It's just straight like
just
steel.
Exhaust steel, yeah,
just exhaust steel. So we actually paid for the option of nicer chrome tips, and this doesn't have chrome tips anymore because the shop cheaped out.
Wow.
However, the rest of the repairs have held up because insurance covered it because it was so new.
Yeah.
Instead of totaling it, only thing I'm going to request is don't get too close to the red line. Remember, I just rebuilt this engine.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
I'm just a little bit nervous.
Yeah, yep. Thanks for letting me know. I get carried away sometimes. Apologize.
Yeah, still get a little nervous about how I tightened the head bolts. I followed the procedure. I torqued them to spec in the correct order. But I'm still a little nervous. What if I did something wrong and the head just
the boogeyman
blows out of the car?
Yep.
So just still babying it a little bit.
Sure. This is probably really helpful for it, you know, going through the road range and stuff.
But like, what was I saying?
With the car, no tips.
Her insurance covered the repairs.
Yeah.
The frame was damaged. Like, it was a ruined rear frame. That would normally be a total loss. But no, they welded it back together, and one of the guys over there was actually knocking on the back, and he said, "Yeah, I can hear the weld. I can hear the weld in your rear left of the car. That's definitely different. They definitely filled it in there. It's a little stiffer."
So this is technically a stiffer E46.
Yeah, because it's got a welded rear frame. And my dad, for the first few years, wanted to get rid of this car. He's like, this car is going to fall apart on me. It's going to break.
Yep. It's
never going to be the same as when it was new before the accident. It never broke. It never had structural issues.
Look who's laughing now, Dad.
Yeah. And eventually that fear and worry wore off, and the car ended up just being a very reliable family hauler. We've done so many family trips into New York City, up to Boston, down to Washington, D.C. The first family trip, my earliest memory of this car, summer of 2004, we drove this down to Hilton Head Island in North Carolina, and I was in the back seat, and we had one of those portable DVD players, because this is in the age long before iPads.
Yeah.
And I'm just like 3 years old, and my mom got a DVD of Finding Nemo, which was brand new at the time. It had just released on DVD, and I watched Finding Nemo in the back seat of this car. Still one of my favorite movies to this day.
Nice.
But that's my earliest memory with this car. And then when they drove back from Hilton Head Island, this car drove through a tropical storm.
Wow.
Yeah, and it made it through. And interestingly enough, at the time when we went, this was right at, my mom didn't know it yet, but she had just gotten pregnant with my little brother. Mm-hmm. My little brother was born a little under a year later, May of 2005. Wow. So, and then of course, my little brother, like me, grew up in this car. Both my little brother and I learned to drive on this car. Mm-hmm. 2019, when I was at Rampo, this was my daily. I took this to school back and forth. You saw that plenty. Yep. And then in my brother's last year of high school, 2022, when he could park, he dailied this to Rampo as well. Awesome. And then when I'd come back over the summers from college, I went to school at the U of A. 2021, 2022, 2023, I daily this when I come home for work or just hanging out with friends or stuff. And then when I started at Rutgers back in 2024, my dad finally, after all these years, bought a new car. He held on to this for 20 years. Wow. I don't know many people who do that. And he replaced it with a brand new 2023 G2330i, same generation as your M3, granted B48 engine instead of S58. Yeah, so a lot less powerful, automatic, but honestly I've had the chance to drive that and it's such a nice car. Yeah, I mean, my brother has a 330i, my sister has a 430i, both with a sport package, and it is such a fun package. I don't know how BMW does it with the weight, because I know that they're not light cars, but the way that they put power down, just have their dynamics with a stock, you know, suspension geometry, everything with alignment, they're a ton of fun. Of course, like I said, tire is so dependent on so many things, but overall, for a daily commuter with a little fun and some spunk and spite, I mean, that's why they're selling so well. They're just great interior, great driving dynamics, great feeling, and they're super safe. So I'm just such a big fan. And just driving this car around, I know it's been a lot of talking, but it's just so comfortable. Like, you just kind of turn your brain off, enjoy it. I mean, this does everything I'm expecting to do. Now that I had a bit more time with this hydraulic steering, I can say it does give you the feedback, which is good. But yeah, so I'm saying with the tire being as it is and not super direct, you don't get a lot of that weight, but I'm sure, as we were talking about before, a better, more dedicated summer tire will definitely waken this guy up a bit. We are heading back to the spot now, but overall, it's just been such a pleasure to drive. Kind of a blast from the past for what it is for my car. Mine being a 2021, this car is now, how many years old in difference? 18 years? This car, yeah. 2003, right? 2000, it was built 2003, it's a 2004 model. Yeah, so 18-year difference. Of course, you know, we're not going from M3 to more of one of the base cars, but you definitely see the roots and everything has driven and changed through the year, just iterating over and over and over again on this platform, which is one of my favorite and honestly one of the world's favorite as well. So that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much, Sully, for giving me the opportunity to drive this thing. Thank you so much for reviewing it. Of course. I definitely give it a seal of approval for a daily driver, a cheap daily. I say cheap in quotations, as we know, as we were talking about before. The maintenance can come up and bite you, but if you're handy, learn to fix it yourself. Exactly. If you're handy and know how to turn a wrench and figure some things out, I think this is one of the perfect options and packages to really get yourself into the world of wrenching on cars, because so much documentation, so many parts, and we have so many companies like FCP Euro or other brands that like to work together to help you get your car back on the road in tip-top shape. So I just want to say again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this content, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you want your car reviewed on my channel, please hit me up on Instagram, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Feroz Moto out.